guest, Mr. Omar McGill, who's going to be running for Schenectady County Legislature. Thank you, Omar, for checking in with us. How you doing today?
Doing well. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I think it's an amazing thing that you're doing as an individual coming from the city of Schenectady and who took the opportunity to involve himself in politics before. I definitely know how strenuous the situation is, but I also know how powerful what you're doing it is, and really just kind of tell the people who may not be aware of who you are, talk about who you are and what's your inspiration for your run.
Definitely. Like you said, Omar McGill was born and raised in Schenectady, New York. My grandmother's house is in Vale Village, so much of my family has lived for and been rooted in Schenectady for about 50 years. So I've really grown up in District 1, if you will. I went to school at St. John's Evangelical School until 3rd grade. Then I transitioned to Lincoln Elementary School for 4th grade. And then from there, I went to the Albany Academy from 5th to 12th grade. Upon graduation from Albany Academy, I went to Morehouse College in Atlanta, Georgia, whose sole purpose is to produce morally conscious leaders and build leaders that are able to deal with the issues of today and also always able to adapt. So that was something that really was instilled in me coming from there, as well as a sense of community service and a sense of community pride. Basically being wherever you are, making sure you're ingratiated in that community and make sure you're being a positive asset to that community. So from Albany Academy and Morehouse, that really was instilled in me and kind of led me down the path of trying to be a community servant. I started my own nonprofit after graduation called Educating Progressive Influential Changers, also known as EPIC Inc. We work with youth and young adults on helping them reach their full potential in the areas of college readiness, which is dissecting the college process, community service, and health awareness as well. So we've been doing programs in Atlanta, but I was able to bring it back here once I came back home, and we've done programs in Albany, and we've done a lot of our work mostly in Schenectady with the Boys Day Out program. We've got a few programs ourselves, and we also do our community day at Jerry Burrell, which we also try to give out book bags and voter registration. So that's kind of a little bit about my background, and then now professionally I work at the New York State Senate. I worked in the Assembly for the past 4 years, and now this is my first year at the New York State Senate.
Excellent. I think one of the most important things about what you're doing is that, again, you're from the community. You're not somebody who's coming from the outside in with the savior's mentality. You are a homegrown hero in the sense of you've been here. You've suffered from some of the same traumas as the rest of us in the community. You've seen a lot of the same things. So I think really just talk about that. How does somebody like yourself come from a place like Schenectady or New York and make the right decisions to go to some of the places where you have? I think that's really important. I work with a lot of youth, and I pride myself on letting them know that regardless of where you come from, you can make different decisions, and you can find yourself in different situations. So I think, really talk about something like your decision making along the way.
Right. I think it all started with the environment that I was brought up in. My mother and my grandmother worked really hard, as well as my father. They were a very, very good supportive system, and then they also built up a great bench. When I call them not a bench, but they were more so my village, right? Mm-hmm. So I always, whenever I was around somewhere, they always had me around people who would put me in a positive light and make sure I'm doing the right thing. I was also always active when I was young, whether it be in extracurricular activities, whether it be in sports, or whether it be in community service opportunities. And that really, really pushed me to kind of stay on the path that was destined for me. Everybody, we come from an area where we come from a place, and it's just a place, period, people, period. Everybody's path is never the same, right? What works for somebody may not work for everybody else, but they can still have the same amount of success.
Yes.
So I always appreciate the diversity that we have in Schenectady, and I think that, just speaking on my behalf, I think I really want to give a shout out to my parents and my village for really, really supporting me and pushing me forward and putting me in positions where I can be successful. And then also continually to tell me that, what you put into something is what you get out of it. So always put your best foot forward, never worry about and be afraid of failing, and always just get back up and keep going forward. And that's really what got me to where I am today.
For those who don't know, because, you have school board, you have city council, you have county leg, you have state, and all these other branches of government, and all these other entities. Mm-hmm. Really just talk about, for you, what you've learned. What is the difference between like city council and the county legislature?
Oh, definitely. City council focuses more so on the city of Schenectady and what happens inside of Schenectady. Now, the Schenectady County Legislature is broken up into 4 districts. Schenectady has 2 districts, which would be District 1 and District 2. Niskayuna and Scotia will be considered District 3, and then Rotterdam and the town of Delaware and Princetown are District 4. So they govern, Schenectady County governs the whole county in all those areas, and that makes up Schenectady County, and they work with the library system, they work with the DSS, they work with a lot of economic revitalization that goes on within the county. They work with a lot of social services, and they also do a lot of children and family issues as well. So we work with, they do a lot of different meaningful work, and that's kind of the difference. So a lot of things that people think can be are attached to the same thing, it's split. So the city does things, some certain things, and the county does some certain things. So that's the difference. The county's built made up of 15 seats.
Okay.
Schenectady has 6 seats, so 3 in District 1, 3 in District 2. Niskayuna and Scotia have 5 seats, and Rotterdam has 4 seats.
Okay.
Right, so that's how it's kind of broken down. And like I said, I'm running for District 1, and the seat that I was running for was held by former Mayor Karen Johnson, who unfortunately passed away. So I'm running for that particular seat.
Karen Johnson was an absolute wonderful person. I had the opportunity to meet with her and have many conversations with her and see firsthand kind of the work that she did. So, to her and to her family and to her memory, she was a phenomenal individual.
Definitely.
Really just talk about this process for yourself. I had the opportunity to run for school board a couple years ago. Mr. Damani Farley ran for city council. Chris Gibbs ran for mayor. We've had a lot of tremendous opportunity and growth in this political department in the last few years in the city of Schenectady. But really talk about this process for you. What is it like being on the ground, knocking on doors, doing the work, the groundwork? Because a lot of people don't know. They just think, you're just up on a pedestal and you're having conversations and meetings and that's really it.
Right. No, it's definitely hard work. Definitely have to get out and meet with as many constituents as you can, and not just meet with constituents and tell them what you want to see. Meet with constituents and see what they want to see for the county level. And I definitely stand on the shoulders of the men that you mentioned before who have ran and actually, have ran and have kind of paved the way and shown me that, you can do this too. Either win or lose. At the end of the day, as long as we're standing up for our community, that means we're never being quiet. We're never being quiet, right? So we want to make sure that we're continuing to do that. So yes, the campaign trail has been great. I've been going door to door. I've been trying to meet with many different organizations. I've been trying to make sure that I'm listening and not telling them what I want to see, but listening to some of the concerns that they see for the county level, and also kind of educating people too. Some people are not educated as far as what goes on the county level. So that's one of the things that we are pushing, that we were trying to make sure that we educate them. But the campaign trail definitely gives you a lot of surprises. You never know what may happen. One time I'm walking to a house on Eagle Street, and a young toddler comes up to me and hugs my leg before I even start talking to his parents. And his parents is like, "What are you doing?" But it was great. It was a genuine moment, and and I was as genuine as I can be because I love kids. Yeah. So that's one of the things that you see on the campaign trail that really motivates you and encourages you. You're not really getting a lot of, oh, well, you're not going to win, or, well, thank you for coming by and then shutting the door in your face. People are really, really talking to you and really trying to get to know you and really vested. And when those people are vested, it makes you want to work even harder to garner their vote, especially when they're vested in their communities.
So, what has been some of the feedback from the people that what are some of the concerns, or just some of the conversations, or just what are some of the great things that some of the people that you're meeting on the campaign trail, what are they saying?
Right. Some of the concerns, people want to know, why, making sure that the economic revitalization moves into the neighborhoods as well. They want to talk about this. Some people ask me questions that I can't necessarily answer because it's a city council issue.
Right.
So sometimes we have to educate them that is saying that, reach out to their city councilwoman. It's easy for me because, shout out to Miss Marion Porterfield, my campaign manager. Yeah. Sometimes she's walking with me and they bring up a city issue. And the funny thing is, she doesn't hide behind and, not say anything. She lets them know, this is the city council issue, please. She writes it down and she takes it back to what, where we're meeting. So it's kind of awesome, at times when she's able to walk around with me. So, shout out to her and all the great work she's doing to help me. But yeah, man, we're hearing a couple different things. We're definitely hearing that about economic revitalization. We're definitely we're hearing more about people wanting to understand what goes on the county level as well, and also like the walkability of our neighborhoods and making sure that they're safe for our young people riding bikes and our young people and our parents who may be pushing strollers for their kids. So those are some of the things that we really are hearing. And you know, we hear people saying they want to hear, you know, something fresh and new. They want to see something fresh and new, and they're encouraging me by saying, you know, we're happy that you're young. You know, we're happy that you want to be involved. You know, they when they see that, you know, there are people that are coming up who want to make sure we're involved and make sure we're going down a positive path and try to make sure that, you know, Schenectady County's quality of life is as best as it can be.
Yeah, something I love that you really say is that this is not about opposition, but this is about opportunity. Really, for people who may not understand that concept, really just talk about what that means to you and what you're trying to get across with that message.
Right. Yeah. Campaign. This is a campaign about opportunity, not opposition. Where we're not trying to oppose or go against anybody, but we see this as an opportunity for our community in the Schenectady County as a whole to have people feel more included, have people feel be a part of the community, because it's difficult for people to look up at a leadership table if they don't see anybody that looks like them or can relate to them to feel a part of something. It's just how it is. You know, people will feel more comfortable when they're represented by people who look like them, and it's not. You know, it's not a slight on anybody who's leading now, is at that leadership table now. But people want to see themselves like them, and young people need to be able to see themselves like them from when they come up. So, you know, that's why we say it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for the county to really diversify as far as the leadership table, and an opportunity for the community to speak up and say, this is what we want our leadership to look like. So that's why we encourage them to vote. That's why we try to empower people to vote, because we want them to be able to take control and say, you know, we want our community leadership to look like this. We want it to be able to reflect the person that I want us to be able to have my neighbor, who may be a person of color, be able to look up and say, you know, I'm a part of this community because I have somebody speaking up for me. So, and I think the county legislature does a great job already of leading this county into a great place and on the up and up. And I, you know, salute to them to all that they do, Mr. Tony Jasinski and all that they do. So, and I thank them for the opportunity for the interview for this position. But I, you know, again, I just also think that, you know, we're doing ourselves a disservice when everybody doesn't feel represented a part of the community, because now you're not getting the perspectives of everybody that's in your community. So you need the perspectives of everybody, you know, the perspective of everybody that's involved in the community to make a really informed policy decision that will benefit everybody.
I agree. And as we discussed the economic revitalization of Schenectady, as an individual, myself and yourself, who have been here our entire lives, we've seen a lot of transition in the city of Schenectady. And, you know, it's been great to really see the revitalization of downtown, different parts of the city that are really going through a lot of change. And I think we both echo the same sentiment in saying, you know, we would like to see that spread out throughout the rest of the city. Just talk about what are some of your ideas for kind of spreading that throughout other parts of the city.
Right. Yes, we want to make sure that we are the economic revitalization of developers that are coming in are really taking into consideration our neighborhoods and what our neighborhoods need as they are developing projects. We also want to try to make sure that the money is staying within our county and within our city. And the way we do that is hopefully, you know, try to talk to them if possible, ensuring contracts for local merchants, or ensuring that we have affordable housing units for the people that live in these certain communities, and to make sure that they are as developers coming into our county, they are being good partners with our county and our city.
Yes.
You know, let's build that partnership. So they don't want to just come here. No, we want to just develop something and make money off it. No, we want to be invested in this county because this county takes pride in what they have going on. We want to make sure that the county is taken care of and our communities and our neighborhoods are being taken care of as they're developing within them.
Yeah, and that doesn't take away from any of the work that's already been done. I think we can both kind of really say that in the last few years you've seen the rise of a lot of community work and community entities. In the Hamilton area alone, every year you kind of have a lot of more nonprofits and movements growing, clothing brands, art, music, fashion, community leadership, politics. So you're seeing this growing sentiment of change really across the board. So I think for me, it's been really inspirational to see. And I really can't go down the list of everybody's name because there's literally too many people to name, but to everybody that's really out in the community doing the work every day to economically revitalize our situations and to bring awareness to education and to politics, shout out to you and the commitment, because that acknowledgement is important, because again, for our youth, it's important for them to see tangible evidence of change. So let's get to the politics real quick before we head out. What exactly is Omar McGill's platform?
Definitely. My platform, as we just mentioned, economic revitalization, that's definitely on top. We want to expand into our neighborhoods. We want to make sure that we are attracting commercial businesses to our neighborhoods to create jobs. But more importantly, we want to create we want to provide opportunities for people to come to Schenectady and want to live here and raise their families here.
Yeah.
We want to continue to try to grow our population. So to do that, we have to make sure that we are revitalizing our neighborhoods. We're taking away blighted properties. We're taking out, the stuff that may not be eyesores, as they call them, and making sure that we're improving them and investing in our infrastructure that's already there if we have to. Let's invest in some of the infrastructure that we already have before we want to just tear down and build up. So that's definitely one of the things. Economic revitalization. Next, also huge, transparency and access to the county government.
Yes.
We really want to educate people on what's going on the county level. What legislation is going to be affecting them and be putting into effect, and how can we make laws with you instead of for you, right? We want to make laws with the constituents instead of for them. So we want to make sure that we have town halls and forums where people can express what they are feeling or express how they feel about certain legislation that being passed through, or maybe some community, people have ideas that they just want to submit. So maybe they don't feel comfortable coming to the meeting and submitting it to the leadership as a whole. Maybe they want to come to the Crown Forum where they have their peers, and when I say their peers, people who may not be in political positions, but there to support, to be able to really talk and really have a dialogue and talk about, let's see some things that we can improve to really make our community better. Also, we want to promote our infrastructure and our Schenectady County as a great place for like dining and the arts, and making sure we just did the Mohawk Harbor, which is improving every year. It looks great. Downtown improving all around, and we want to make sure that the corridors that we improve, and we definitely promote them and improve them so we can really encourage businesses to come in and use those places. But the way we do that is to promote it, promote those little areas so they can say, okay, people like this area. This seems like a vibrant area where people like to be. So maybe I will put a small cafe there, or maybe I will put an eatery there or something like that. So we want to make sure that we're doing that, and also like our county trails as well. I think a lot of our young people are starting to ride bikes, but I think we have a beautiful county trail that stretches, I think, almost 25 miles. So try to encourage people to use that, and definitely do different things to encourage the usage of that. And then finally, since it's 2020, man, I can't really talk enough about that. Everybody must be counted. That's why we want to make sure and commend Schenectady County and Schenectady City Council on the complete count, making sure that everybody's counted. That's huge. That has to deal with our political funding, our political representation, and our funding. Yes. Funding for transportation, funding for affordable housing units, child and family services. So we want to make sure that everybody is counted for the Census 2020, and I can't stress that enough. And I want to educate people and letting them know that people, they may want your information, but they're not sharing your information with anybody. They just want to know, how many people are in this household, what are the age groups, so they can have a count, so they can allocate what we need as a county to thrive and improve our quality of life. And without everybody being counted, it's difficult for them to do that, and we're shorting ourselves. We're not shorting anybody else. We're not showing anybody else but Schenectady County and the city of Schenectady. So we want to make sure that everybody's counted. So just to summarize, economic revitalization, transparency and access to government, improving our infrastructure and investing in it, and Census 2020. So that's the platform for Omar for Schenectady County.
And finally, for somebody who's never voted before, or never heard of you before, why should somebody vote for you?
You should vote for me because I was born and bred here in District 1, specifically in Schenectady. I'm a passionate and a hard worker, and I'm definitely a person who can handle this job and really do this job. Working at the legislature, I've learned the political process of a give and take, and I've really learned how to navigate and how to make sure that I can get things done and do things in a way where I'm not stepping on anybody's toes, but I'm making sure I'm putting the greater good in my informed policy decisions. So, I definitely think that I've grown up here. I've kind of understand with the climate of what's going on, and I'm learning more and more every day. And that's another thing. I'm going to come in here, I'm going to learn first, right? I'm going to learn from the people on the county legislature if I win, and I want to make sure that I learn and then be able to implement and go down my own path in the process while putting the greater good in the community first.
Excellent. Well, that's what you heard it here first. Vote Omar.
Also, I just want to give a breakdown of what District 1 is. Just to be clear, District 1 is downtown, the Stockade, the Bellevue area, Goose Hill, which is over by Union College, and Vale Village as well. So that's District 1, and if you live in those areas, you can definitely vote for me on November 5th. And early voting starts on October 26th. and that goes from October 26th to November 3rd, and it starts at 9 a.m. And the Schenectady location is the Honorable Karen B. Johnson Library, which is 99 Clinton Street, which is our main branch. So I definitely want to stress that. That was something that came into effect this year. So early voting definitely started on October 26th. There will be stuff posted on my Facebook page and on my website that will be launching within the next few days.
Excellent. Here you heard it first. William Reeves with Omar Sterling McGill. Vote Omar Sterling McGill, Schenectady County Legislature, District 1. Thank you guys very much. Have a great day.